So there are half a dozen dilemmas laid out here. They're all interrelated, right? And to me, the dilemma is that we have, 5 or 6 fronts on which we have to move. We actually don't have the luxury of saying maybe we'll do one first and another later. I mean, from my perspective at Achieve, states have been working on implementing college and career-ready standards in some states since 2005, 2006, 2007, even before the Common Core, and now the Common Core have been adopted, builds on that earlier work, and that work is moving. We're helping states in the PARC Consortium develop assessments that are aligned to those standards. There's not a chance in the world that anyone's going to blow a whistle and say, maybe we should slow down the assessment work a little bit, let something else move ahead. Better than half the states have, they've either gotten or are applying for waivers that require changes in their accountability system. I don't think anyone's going to blow a whistle on that and say maybe that stuff should hold off for a while. So I think we are once again, in the uncomfortable position of having a lot of initiatives underway that are all related to each other, and there's no centralized point of control that can sequence them in whatever you think might be the most rational, logical manner. So one big dilemma then is how do you communicate to all of the folks in the education system that these are not separate, independent, unrelated initiatives, just one thing after another, but how in fact do you communicate that this is part of an attempt to create greater coherence in the system, even though it might not feel that way initially. So communicating is one big dilemma. I want to mention a couple of others. To the extent that it's possible, I would argue that one of the first steps here would be to target the resources and time and effort insofar as possible to building the capacity at the ground level to respond to all of these challenges. And I'll give you just 2 examples, actually, again, playing off of what Alan talked about. So curriculum resources are going to be really important to implementing the Common Core. They're going to be so I don't know if there are existing curriculum that, Russ evaluated a couple of years ago that you would argue really do reflect the Common Core, but I do know that there are a number of foundations and a number of states, particularly with Race to the Top money, that are investing in the development of model curriculum and model instructional units. So 2 things ought to be happening here. One is the states that aren't doing that should not go out and do the same thing so that we can do that 50 times over for a Common Core set of standards. There ought to be an effort to help states work together on that. And there ought to be an effort, it happens that Achieve is working on this, to help states come to a common definition of what quality is with regard to instructional materials developed for the Common Core. Let them evaluate it together and basically identify the things that have the most promise. And people ought to use it. They shouldn't go out and waste time and money creating all their own, because that's not a particularly efficient use of resources, nor is it going to lead to the highest quality. So, right, invest in the tools that can help people at the classroom respond to these challenges, and do that in the most efficient, high-quality manner. Related to that, educator evaluation is important. That's moving pretty rapidly. Everyone's focused on the use of assessments to evaluate gains, which is important, or untested grades and subjects, which is a minor cottage industry now, at least talking about it. But people also ought to pay attention to the observation tools that are being used, right, for the other 50%, and those ought to be aligned with the standards and with the instructional materials and strategies that are being developed, so that you, again, begin to get some coherence at the ground level. You're sending coherent signals rather than disparate signals to folks. Third thing I'll say, and then I'll stop. I'm sure we'll come to other issues. I would pay very careful attention to phasing in stakes where it's possible to do that. And the one that I've been focused the most on, and this goes to one of the issues, is we're working with a PARC consortium in the PARC states. We will set a college-ready cut score on the PARC assessments that will undoubtedly be more rigorous than what most states demand now on their high school tests, whether they are high stakes or not, although there'll be some variation among the states on that. We keep getting asked the question, should we make our exit, for those states that have exit exams, should we make the passing exam on the passing score on the exit exam the college-ready cut score? And the answer I always give to that is, if you do that, you will either have the lowest college-ready standards in the country, or you'll have the lowest graduation rate in the country, and you want to avoid both of those. So you can set a high bar, an aspirational bar for college readiness in a way that colleges will actually honor and use right away, right? And you can have a lower bar for earning a high school diploma so that you can continue to help kids prepare and graduate. And at some point, you'll want those two bars to come together, but we should think long and hard about what the pace of that is, but it sure is not immediately.